Across the planet, buried under shifting deserts, swallowed by dense jungles, or standing alone on silent, wind-lashed plains, rest the last traces of astonishing ancient achievements. Colossal monoliths, impossibly massive stone walls, vast tombs carved with uncanny precision, all crafted by hands whose names have long vanished from history. Many of these structures defy simple explanation. Their stone blocks weigh hundreds, even thousands of tons. Yet they're cut and fitted with a level of skill that still commands awe today. And in countless cases, no one truly knows who built them, what purpose they served, or the methods used to raise them. Some ruins appear far older than the civilizations we usually credit with such engineering mastery, forcing us to question the timelines we've taken for granted. These sites aren't just remnants of the past. They're riddles, silent testimonies from cultures whose abilities seem to surpass everything we expect from their time. And woven through this mystery is another thread, an ancient memory shared by myths across the world. The story of a great flood, echoing through the oldest tales humanity has ever told. From Mesopotamia's Epic of Gilgamesh, where the gods send a deluge to wipe out humanity, to the Hopi of North America, who tell of waters that swept away a corrupt world, the theme repeats. Ancient Chinese legends speak of devastating inundations reshaping the land, while Aboriginal Australians pass down vivid accounts of seas rising to divide their territories. These aren't loose similarities. They're strikingly consistent accounts from cultures separated by oceans, mountains, and millennia. Some researchers see them as memories of real events, sea level rise and geological upheavals at the end of the last ice age, 12,000 to 8,000 years ago. Others note that many traditions, including the biblical account, place their great flood far later, around 2300 BC. If that later date is correct, it hints at something truly catastrophic, powerful enough to erase entire civilizations. And perhaps those civilizations were more connected than we think. Around the world, megaliths share uncanny similarities in scale, style, and construction techniques, despite vast distances between their builders. Could this point to a once prominent global megalith building culture, one wiped almost entirely from the record by a cataclysmic flood? So join us as we delve into some of these fascinating pre-flood megaliths to search for the knowledge and intent their builders left encoded in stone. Remember, as always with our videos, the visuals aren't necessary. So whether you're watching closely or just listening along, sit back, get comfy, and let the outside world fade for a while. Together, we'll explore the possibility that the massive walls, monuments, tombs, and carvings we find today may be more than ruins. They may be the last surviving messages from advanced societies swept away in a single world-changing event. Tucked away in the quiet, wooded hillsides of Japan lie two ancient monuments whose origins remain as mysterious as their appearance. These enigmatic structures, the Ishi no Hoden and Masuda no Iwafyun, represent some of Japan's most intriguing megalithic puzzles. Unlike more famous monuments such as Stonehenge or Egypt's pyramids, these remarkable Japanese stones rarely appear in documentaries or mainstream history books, yet their existence challenges conventional wisdom about early civilizations and their technological capabilities. First, let's explore the mesmerizing Ishi no Hoden, often called the floating stone of Hyogo Prefecture. At first glance, this enormous granite monolith immediately captures attention. It seems to defy gravity itself. Suspended above a small pool of water, The stone gives the illusion of floating gently above its base. The monolith measures approximately 6.4 meters in length, 5.7 meters wide, and 5.45 meters tall, and its sheer weight is estimated at around 500 tons. To put this into perspective, this single stone weighs roughly as much as 3 jumbo jets. Yet the massive granite appears delicately balanced, supported by only a small central pillar that is skillfully concealed by the surrounding water. Upon closer inspection, the precision and craftsmanship involved become even more baffling. The surfaces of the Ishi-no-Hoden are astonishingly smooth, featuring precise, clean-cut angles that modern stonemasons acknowledge would require advanced tools and careful planning, even by contemporary standards. Archaeologists and historians have struggled to conclusively explain how ancient people managed to carve and balance such a massive stone with primitive technology. What's more, no historical records or archaeological artifacts clearly indicate the monument's true purpose or the identity of its builders. Local legends only deepen the mystery surrounding the Ishi-no-Hoden. According to folklore passed down for generations, the stone was not crafted by ordinary humans. Instead, the stories hint at advanced beings or gods descending from the heavens who shaped the stone using supernatural methods. Such tales, while fantastical, raise intriguing questions about whether these myths could hold grains of historical truth, possibly indicating contact with an advanced civilization whose existence has since faded from historical memory. Not far away, another ancient megalith known as Masuda no Iwafune, or the rock ship of Masuda, is equally compelling and mysterious. Located in Osaka, Nara Prefecture, this massive granite stone is carved into a peculiar and distinctive shape that defies easy categorization. The rock measures approximately 11 meters long, 8 meters wide, and nearly 5 meters tall, presenting an imposing sight in the serene Japanese countryside. The precise purpose behind Masuda no Iwafune remains an enduring enigma. Unlike other ancient monuments around the world, often linked to tombs, temples, or astronomical observatories, the rock ship offers no clear explanation. Carved intricately into the granite surface are symmetrical grooves and rectangular indentations. Some researchers speculate these carvings could have served a practical function, perhaps as foundations or anchoring points for a larger structure now lost to time. Others propose that they might have been part of ceremonial rituals or symbolic markers. Yet none of these theories have definitive archaeological backing, leaving the true purpose of Masuda no Iwafune obscured in historical mystery. Even more baffling is the absence of stone chips or carving debris nearby, which typically accompanies large-scale stone working. This lack of evidence has led some researchers to suggest that the stone may have been transported here after carving, an idea that brings its own puzzling implications given its colossal weight and the primitive technology supposedly available at the time. Interestingly, the area surrounding Masuda no Iwafune and Ishi-no-Hoden is steeped in ancient folklore and mythology, referencing advanced beings or powerful civilizations lost in distant antiquity. Japanese legends describe these ancient societies as possessing extraordinary skills and knowledge far beyond the scope of contemporary understanding. Stories speak of great teachers who arrived from across the sea or descended from the heavens, imparting wisdom in architecture, astronomy, agriculture, and medicine, only to vanish mysteriously in a catastrophic event often described as a massive flood or devastating tsunami. Indeed, Japan itself has numerous flood myths resembling those found globally. One of the most compelling tales is recorded in the Kojiki, an ancient Japanese text written around 712 AD, recounting a period of chaos when the gods sent powerful floods and storms to cleanse and reshape the land. These stories bear striking parallels to other flood myths worldwide, hinting at a shared global memory of catastrophic events. If we consider these Japanese megaliths in the context of such stories, intriguing possibilities emerge. Could the advanced construction techniques evident in these stones indicate that the builders belonged to a sophisticated civilization disrupted or destroyed by a significant flooding event? If so, this would align with global flood narratives, suggesting that ancient Japan once hosted a culture whose knowledge and technology were abruptly lost. Compounding this mystery is the cultural phenomenon of forgotten technology evidenced by similar stone structures worldwide. Both Ishi no Hoden and Masuda no Iwafune bear resemblance to other inexplicable ancient monuments scattered globally, structures that defy easy explanation, demonstrating similar patterns of precise stone cutting and meticulous placement. From the massive polygonal walls of South America to the mysterious split stones of the Arabian deserts, common techniques and styles suggest a widespread ancient understanding of megalithic architecture. When most people think of ancient ruins, familiar sites like the pyramids of Egypt or the temples of Greece typically spring to mind. But hidden away in the mountains of Peru, and beneath the waves off the coast of Syria lie walls built from massive stones, each one meticulously shaped, moved, and set into place with a precision that's almost unsettling. These structures are not merely impressive, they're genuinely puzzling. The people who built them vanished long ago, leaving behind no written records or explanations. Even today, modern engineers marvel at their craftsmanship, uncertain how ancient hands achieved such feats. Let's begin high in the Andes Mountains, just outside the bustling modern city of Cusco, Peru. Here sits the ancient fortress of Sacsayhuaman, an imposing stone complex dating back hundreds, possibly thousands, of years. Upon first glance, it's easy to underestimate just how extraordinary this place really is. But walk a little closer, and the true marvel quickly comes into focus. The fortress's walls are crafted from gigantic limestone boulders, some weighing over 200 tons, roughly the weight of 120 average cars. What's truly remarkable isn't just the size, but the precision. Each stone is fitted against its neighbors without mortar or cement, placed together so perfectly that even a single piece of paper can't slide into the cracks between them. Not only do the stones lock tightly together, they also follow gently curving patterns, winding gracefully along the hillside. Some stones have up to 12 distinct angles cut precisely, matching their neighbors' unique shapes exactly. Standing in front of these enormous stones, it's hard not to ask how ancient builders, using supposedly simple tools of bronze and stone, managed to create something modern machines would find daunting. Archaeologists agree that transporting and placing these huge stones would have required immense effort. But when questioned about how exactly this was done, even seasoned researchers often shrug and admit it's something of a mystery. Local folklore offers fascinating explanations. Some stories speak of giants who moved and shaped these stones, possessing enormous strength or mystical powers. Other tales passed down by generations describe ancient civilizations with abilities that seem almost mythical today. People capable of making stones lighter or softer, temporarily easing their manipulation into perfect alignment. A few hundred kilometers northwest of Sacsayhuaman lies another astonishing Peruvian site, known as Ollantaytambo. Nestled in the Sacred Valley, This site features what is known as the Wall of the Six Monoliths, another incredible demonstration of ancient engineering. These 6 massive granite stones stand tall, aligned side by side. Each monolith is enormous, carved out of solid granite weighing up to 50 tons apiece, and again fitted with astonishing accuracy. But here, the mystery deepens even further. These granite blocks didn't originate from the immediate vicinity. Instead, archaeologists traced their origins to a quarry on a distant mountain, located approximately 7 kilometers away, across rugged terrain and a deep valley. Transporting each stone would have required moving them down steep slopes, across rivers, and finally hauling them uphill to their resting place. Even today, with our heavy machinery and advanced logistics, the task would be exceptionally difficult. The question naturally arises, how did ancient cultures achieve this monumental effort? Again, the local Quechua people preserve rich legends of a time when their ancestors received assistance from beings known as the Viracochas, a legendary civilization of wise men who arrived, taught advanced skills like agriculture and construction, and then abruptly disappeared. According to these traditions, the great stones were moved through unknown, possibly supernatural means. While modern science may resist such explanations, these local stories reflect genuine awe toward their ancestors' remarkable abilities. But South America isn't alone in hosting ancient megalithic walls that intrigue modern observers. Across the globe, off the Mediterranean coast near Syria, the ancient island city of Arwid conceals yet another mysterious structure. Known historically as one of the earliest continuously inhabited settlements, Arwid's roots stretch back to Phoenician times, nearly 4,000 years ago or more. Beneath the shallow waters surrounding the island lies something truly curious, a partially submerged megalithic wall constructed from massive blocks of limestone. Diving explorations reveal large stones, similar in style and precision to those found in Peru, fitted tightly together without any binding mortar. What's particularly intriguing is the fact that this wall currently rests underwater, submerged beneath several meters of the Mediterranean Sea. Its presence beneath the waves strongly hints at a dramatic rise in sea level since its construction, possibly connecting it to global flood events recorded by ancient civilizations around the world. The Phoenicians themselves, expert sailors and traders, left surprisingly little direct explanation about this submerged structure. However, local stories surviving on Arwid speak vaguely of ancient, prosperous civilizations that suddenly vanished after catastrophic floods. It's fascinating and slightly eerie to imagine an ancient people building this structure above water, unaware of the dramatic changes awaiting their city. While each of these walls, Sacsayhuaman, Ollantaytambo, and Arwid, is impressive on its own, the similarities between them invite curiosity. Each employs massive stones, cut with precision and placed together without mortar, exhibiting a sophisticated understanding of geometry, physics, and engineering. Equally compelling are the stories shared by the cultures around these walls, speaking consistently of civilizations whose skills and knowledge far surpassed their own, and who disappeared mysteriously, often linked to flood-like catastrophes. Another interesting point worth considering is the peculiar carvings and artistic motifs found on or near many of these megaliths. In Ollantaytambo, for example, nearby stones bear intricate carvings of abstract geometric shapes, spirals, and stylized figures. Similarly, at other megalithic sites around the globe, notably Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, nearly identical carvings appear, stylized symbols of animals, abstract geometric patterns and figures holding what appear to be handbags or small pouches. While interpretations vary, these carvings suggest a possible shared cultural symbolism among ancient builders separated by thousands of miles. Could these walls represent remnants of a network of ancient builders who shared ideas, symbols, or perhaps even technology across vast distances? While direct evidence for such a global connection remains elusive, the similarities in technique and symbolic carvings present a fascinating possibility. It opens the intriguing idea that ancient peoples, far more connected than traditionally imagined, traded not only goods but ideas and skills as well, leaving behind enigmatic structures whose purposes and origins puzzle us still today. It's also worth considering the precise astronomical alignments observed at these sites. Many ancient megaliths worldwide, including those discussed here, incorporate clear celestial alignments into their designs. Stones aligned precisely to solstices, equinoxes, or significant star positions indicate a sophisticated understanding of astronomy by their builders. While practical uses like marking planting or harvest times are plausible, these alignments seem more complex and deliberate than mere calendars. They suggest a deep-seated respect or reverence for celestial events, perhaps a universal cultural trait of these ancient, vanished civilizations. What we can say with certainty is that these ancient walls standing silently through millennia offer a compelling look into the capabilities of their unknown builders. These enormous stones, perfectly shaped, transported across daunting distances and precisely aligned, tell us plainly that their creators possessed extraordinary skills. They prompt us to question the simplistic idea that early societies were merely primitive. Instead, they reveal that the people who built these walls were resourceful, intelligent, and inventive, in ways we can still barely grasp today. As you wander among the enormous stones at places like Sacsayhuaman or gaze into the waters around Arwood, you encounter the physical legacy of people who mastered stonework in ways few others have since matched. Whether the builders were ancient Peruvians, Phoenicians, or unknown cultures long lost to history, their impressive achievements survive, carved into stone, still inspiring awe and curiosity, thousands of years later. Hidden away in the quiet and windswept landscape of the Golan Heights lies a mysterious sight few have heard of, yet those who encounter it find it undeniably captivating. Known as Rum El Hiri, Arabic for stone heap of the wild cat, this intriguing ancient structure consists of a series of massive, concentric stone circles, quietly dominating the barren terrain for thousands of years. Built around 5,000 years ago, roughly during the early Bronze Age, Rum El Hiri predates many of the world's more famous ancient monuments. From ground level, its true complexity is surprisingly difficult to grasp, just piles of basalt stones scattered across an open field. But view it from above, and the picture dramatically changes. From the sky, it reveals a remarkably precise layout of circular stone walls, arranged neatly within each other, like ripples radiating outward from a stone mound at its center. The largest circle spans an impressive 160 meters in diameter, and the entire complex consists of over 42,000 tons of carefully placed volcanic rock. Archaeologists agree the site likely held significant importance for its builders, but exactly why it was constructed remains uncertain. What's particularly intriguing about Rum El Hiri is its clear alignment with astronomical events. On the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the first rays of the rising sun shine directly through the structure's entrance, illuminating its central mound. This precise solar alignment strongly suggests ancient builders possessed considerable astronomical knowledge and deliberately designed the structure to track seasonal cycles. Adding further fascination are the discoveries from excavations within the central mound. Archaeologists found a burial chamber deep inside, dating to a slightly later era than the circles themselves. This suggests the site might have served various ceremonial or ritualistic functions over many centuries, perhaps associated with honoring ancestors, marking seasonal changes, or celebrating celestial events. However, no definitive explanation fully resolves the site's original purpose, leaving archaeologists and historians with more questions than answers. Local folklore enriches the mystery of Rum El Hiri even further. Among nearby communities, especially the Druze people living in the region, legends speak vividly of giants who once roamed the landscape. According to these traditions, these enormous beings effortlessly built monumental structures overnight, carrying massive stones in their bare hands. Such tales might sound exaggerated today, yet intriguingly, they echo similar myths found in cultures worldwide, from the giants who supposedly built Stonehenge in England to those said to have erected megaliths in ancient Armenia. Other regional legends describe an advanced ancient society that once flourished here, skilled in astronomy and architecture, whose civilization suddenly vanished without leaving clear traces. These stories offer tantalizing glimpses into how people in antiquity made sense of mysterious structures left behind by earlier, forgotten societies. What we do know for certain is that Rum El Hiri's builders were organized, knowledgeable, and capable of coordinating large groups of people to achieve ambitious projects. They carefully planned each stone's position, precisely aligning their structure to celestial events. Even today, standing within its concentric circles under the vast sky, visitors can't help but sense something special about the place. An ancient link connecting humanity to the rhythms of nature and the cosmos. While Rum El Hiri remains largely overlooked by popular archaeology, its presence in the Golan Heights continues to inspire curiosity and fascination. Whether built by ancient astronomers, forgotten cultures, or legendary giants, this remarkable stone complex silently invites all who visit to appreciate the mysteries of our collective past. From mysterious stone circles in the Golan Heights, our journey now takes us into the sun-baked deserts of Saudi Arabia, a landscape of stark beauty and ancient secrets. Here, standing amid drifting sands and relentless sunlight, is one of the world's most peculiar geological formations, Al-Nasla. At first glance, the Al-Nasla rock formation appears almost surreal, as if conjured up by a sculptor's imagination, rather than shaped by natural forces. Two enormous sandstone boulders sit side by side, separated by a remarkably precise vertical split, so clean and exact that it looks more like the work of a modern laser than anything nature might create. Each half is delicately balanced on a small, naturally formed pedestal, giving them an elegant, almost gravity-defying appearance. What immediately grabs attention, though, is the astonishing precision of the cut between the two stones. Stretching down several meters in height, the fracture line dividing them is perfectly straight, so sharply defined that observers often find themselves questioning its natural origins. Even trained geologists, familiar with countless examples of weathering and erosion, marvel at the Al-Nasla formation's striking perfection. Scientific explanations have been proposed, suggesting natural geological processes, such as seismic activity, wind erosion, or pressure changes in the rock layers, could account for this unusual split. However, none of these theories fully satisfy every expert. The smoothness and symmetry of the division are simply too precise to comfortably attribute entirely to nature, leaving the door open for intriguing possibilities. Adding another layer of mystery are the remarkable petroglyphs etched into Al Nasla's sandstone surface, believed to be thousands of years old. These ancient carvings depict various animals, figures, and abstract shapes, providing a tantalizing glimpse into the region's early human inhabitants. But what connection, if any, do these carvings have to the enigmatic split? Could the people who created these petroglyphs also be responsible for, or at least inspired by, the remarkable geological anomaly beside them? Given the extraordinary precision involved, some researchers speculate that ancient people with advanced knowledge or tools may have deliberately created the split. Such a theory naturally raises questions about what kind of technology might have been available to them. Traditional historical understanding suggests that the societies living in this desert region thousands of years ago possessed only basic tools, stone and bronze chisels, hammers, and simple levers. Yet, even today, cutting a stone this size with modern technology and achieving a similarly precise line would be challenging and labor-intensive. Could an ancient civilization have had access to methods far beyond what conventional history acknowledges? There are no direct historical records clearly answering this question, and yet local Arabian folklore offers intriguing clues. Legends from the region speak of ancient tribes who had mastery over stone, capable of shaping rock effortlessly with strange and unknown tools. These stories often weave in mythical elements, describing beings or people with unusual powers who could alter stone's consistency, turning it soft or easily moldable. At Al Nasla, scientists continue to debate and investigate the formation's origins. Some geologists theorize that seismic activity in the distant past created stress fractures, eventually splitting the rock so neatly. Others point to ancient volcanic activity, suggesting that heated groundwater might have weakened certain mineral layers within the sandstone, leading to the precise fracture we see today. Yet, neither scenario entirely convinces skeptics, leaving room for alternative interpretations and debate. It's fascinating to consider what observers thousands of years ago might have thought when encountering this peculiar rock formation. Did they see it as evidence of divine or supernatural intervention? Was the location chosen deliberately for petroglyphs because they saw something special or sacred in its appearance? Ancient cultures often revered unusual natural landmarks, attributing special meaning or spiritual significance to them, and Al Nasla certainly qualifies as extraordinary. Local Bedouin traditions add further flavor to the mystery. Stories shared among tribes describe ancient times when powerful beings or skilled craftsmen inhabited the land, leaving behind subtle traces of their presence, marks and monuments meant as guides, or symbolic reminders of their passing. Could Al Nasla's precisely split stones represent one such deliberately placed monument, its meaning and message now lost to history? Whatever its true origins, whether purely natural, man-made, or something in between, the Al Nasla rock formation continues to captivate and perplex visitors today. Tourists, historians, and scientists alike journey into the harsh desert to see this baffling geological curiosity firsthand. Its distinctive, almost artistic appearance, and the unanswered questions surrounding its creation ensure that it remains a favorite subject for speculation and wonder. Perhaps someday, new discoveries or advanced scientific analysis will finally clarify exactly how this enigmatic formation came to be. Until then, Al-Nasla stands silently in the desert sun, a stone riddle inviting anyone who encounters it to ponder its mysteries, consider its origins, and imagine the untold stories etched deep within its perfectly split face. We now journey to Egypt, famous for its ancient wonders, yet home to lesser-known sights equally captivating. Nestled quietly behind the Temple of Seti, one adobe dose, lies a subterranean structure known as the Osirian, an enigmatic complex that many believe predates even the oldest Egyptian dynasties. At first glance, the Osirian doesn't look like typical Egyptian architecture at all. Hidden partially underground, this ancient complex feels more like something you might discover deep within a lost civilization rather than behind a well-documented temple. Descending into the Osirian feels like stepping back into a different era, one even older than the pyramids or the Great Sphinx. The Osirian consists of a series of massive granite pillars arranged precisely around a central island, forming a symmetrical chamber partially submerged in groundwater. Each of these colossal pillars weighs approximately 100 tons, shaped and placed with astonishing precision. Unlike the intricate hieroglyphics and detailed carvings that adorn most Egyptian temples, the surfaces here are smooth, simple, and remarkably austere. The stonework displays incredible craftsmanship, showcasing precise straight edges, sharp angles, and perfect joins, all achieved without mortar, similar to the megalithic walls found in distant Peru or the Mediterranean. This architectural style stands apart from traditional ancient Egyptian methods. Typically, Egyptian temples, like the nearby Temple of Seti, feature ornate inscriptions, colorful murals, and elaborate reliefs. The Osirian, however, has none of this decorative grandeur. Instead, it exudes a minimalist sophistication, almost modern in its simplicity. This stark difference in style has led researchers to wonder if the Osirian might not be Egyptian at all, but perhaps inherited from an even older civilization. Historical records and archaeological evidence have struggled to definitively date the Osirian. Traditional Egyptologists attribute it to Pharaoh Seti I, roughly 1290 to 1279 BC. However, the evidence is not entirely clear, and numerous researchers argue the structure is much older, possibly thousands of years older, citing its unique design, construction methods, and extensive water erosion patterns on the stone surfaces as evidence. These erosion patterns, observed notably by alternative historians, resemble those famously found on the body of the Great Sphinx at Giza, suggesting exposure to significant flooding or prolonged rainfall events, conditions far predating Egypt's recognized dynastic periods. This observation raises intriguing possibilities about the region's climate and environmental conditions thousands of years before traditional history recognizes large-scale Egyptian civilization. Egyptian mythology adds another fascinating layer to the mystery surrounding the Osirian. According to legend, the site honors Osiris, god of the afterlife and rebirth, believed by ancient Egyptians to have brought civilization, wisdom, and culture to humanity. Local traditions suggest the Osirian was deliberately built to symbolize Osiris' tomb, linking the structure closely to ancient myths of a golden age when gods and demigods interacted directly with humans. The Egyptians themselves consistently maintained that many of their sacred places, especially those associated with Osiris, were not their own original constructions. Instead, they described inheriting temples and sacred structures from a much older culture, a civilization they described as highly advanced and directly connected with divine beings or gods. These legends speak of beings known as the Shemsuhor, or followers of Horus, semi-divine rulers who governed Egypt long before its recorded history began. The Shamsuhor are credited in ancient texts with establishing advanced cultural traditions, monumental architecture, and complex spiritual beliefs. Could the Osirian be one of these legendary inherited structures? Its architecture certainly aligns with the descriptions Egyptians gave of these earlier divine buildings. Massive scale, precision craftsmanship, and distinctive construction methods unlike anything else from the recognized dynastic era. This raises fascinating questions about Egypt's historical timeline and the true origins of its earliest monuments. Further deepening the intrigue, researchers note that the Osirian shares architectural traits and sophisticated building techniques with other enigmatic ancient sites worldwide, notably Peru's Sacsayhuaman or Turkey's Göbekli Tepe. Such similarities hint at shared knowledge or methods existing in a remote past, potentially predating established histories of these separate cultures. Yet, despite intense archaeological interest and modern research, the Osirian remains an unsolved puzzle. Water continually fills its chambers, limiting excavation and detailed study, preserving its secrets beneath a shallow pool that has existed since antiquity. Visitors today still marvel at its stark elegance and imposing presence, capturing the imagination without revealing its true origins. Local guides and historians near Abydos often speak of the Osirian with a mix of reverence and curiosity, recounting stories passed down through generations that hint at lost civilizations and divine beings who once walked alongside humans. Even now, in modern Egypt, these legends continue to resonate, less as fanciful myths and more as echoes of a distant reality preserved through storytelling. Though questions about who built the Osirian remain unanswered, its presence challenges our understanding of ancient Egyptian history. As archaeologists continue to explore and study, perhaps future discoveries beneath the sands and waters around Abydos will finally provide definitive clues about the true age and origin of this fascinating structure. Leaving the sun-baked landscapes of Egypt behind, we now travel northwest across the Mediterranean Sea to the Iberian Peninsula to a quiet corner of southern Spain. Nestled among peaceful fields and rolling hillsides near the town of Trigueros is a remarkable ancient structure known as the Dolmen de Soto. This unassuming yet striking monument offers another piece to the global puzzle of ancient megalithic builders whose creations continue to fascinate archaeologists and visitors alike. Constructed around 5,000 years ago, Dolmen de Soto is one of the largest and most significant megalithic tombs in Spain. From the outside, it appears deceptively simple, a large mound of earth covering a stone-lined passage, but step inside and a world of wonder unfolds. Stretching almost 21 meters in length, the corridor leads visitors deep into a mysterious chamber formed by massive upright stones. Each stone slab was carefully chosen and deliberately placed, some weighing several tons, giving visitors the immediate sense that this was no ordinary construction. But Dolmen de Soto's true wonder reveals itself in the carvings that decorate its stone walls. Walking slowly through the dim interior, visitors encounter intricate patterns, spirals, abstract designs, and stylized figures etched directly into the surface of the stone. These symbols appear surprisingly consistent and deliberate, though their precise meaning remains elusive. Are these carvings purely decorative, symbolic references to celestial events, or perhaps ancient maps marking nearby sacred sites? Scholars continue to study them, intrigued by their complexity and subtlety. One fascinating aspect of Dolmen de Soto is its deliberate astronomical alignment. Archaeologists studying the tomb noted that its entrance faces precisely eastward. Each year, during the equinoxes, the 2 days of the year when day and night are of equal length, the rising sun's rays penetrate deep into the dolmen's passage, illuminating the inner chamber and its ancient carvings. This phenomenon strongly suggests the site's builders possessed significant astronomical knowledge, carefully aligning their structure to specific moments within the solar calendar. The sophistication required to create such precise astronomical alignments 5,000 years ago cannot be overstated. It implies careful planning, keen observation, and deep cultural importance placed upon solar events. While the exact purpose of this alignment remains uncertain, many experts believe it may have served ritualistic or ceremonial functions, marking seasons, agricultural cycles, or perhaps connecting the living with their ancestors during important times of the year. Leaving the warmth of southern Spain, we now travel northward over lush, green landscapes and across the waters to the emerald fields of Ireland. Here, nestled in the serene Boyne Valley, sits another ancient marvel, the Newgrange tomb. Constructed around 3200 BC, making it older than Stonehenge and even the Great Pyramid of Giza, Newgrange offers another intriguing glimpse into the sophisticated capabilities of ancient builders. At first glance, Newgrange appears as a large, circular mound of grass-covered earth, but as you draw closer, the structure reveals its true complexity. Encircled by enormous stones standing upright, Newgrange's exterior facade features a striking white quartz stone wall, restored in modern times to replicate its original appearance, and large, rounded granite boulders decorating the perimeter. The tomb measures over 80 meters in diameter and is approximately 13 meters high, standing imposingly amid the Irish countryside. Yet the most captivating part of Newgrange lies within. Visitors enter through a narrow, stone-lined passageway, carefully making their way nearly 19 meters into the heart of the tomb. At the passage's end sits a cruciform-shaped chamber with 3 alcoves, each believed to have held ancient remains or ceremonial objects, but it's the stunning carved artwork covering the interior stones that draws immediate attention. Spirals, circles, zigzag lines, and abstract geometric patterns adorn nearly every surface, carved deeply into massive stone slabs. These motifs share remarkable similarities to those found at distant sites, like Dolmen de Soto, hinting at cultural connections that span thousands of kilometers and hundreds of years. As with Dolmen de Soto, one of Newgrange's most astonishing features is its precise astronomical alignment. Every year, during the winter solstice, the shortest day and longest night of the year, something truly magical occurs. At sunrise, a narrow beam of sunlight enters through an opening above the entrance called the roof box, carefully positioned by the ancient builders. This beam slowly creeps along the passageway, penetrating deep into the inner chamber, illuminating it brightly for a brief but spectacular moment. For the rest of the year, the tomb's interior remains dark, untouched by direct sunlight. This precise alignment is no accident. It required sophisticated observational skills, mathematical calculations, and advanced engineering knowledge to position the roof box and chamber correctly. The solstice alignment likely held profound importance for Newgrange's builders, symbolizing rebirth, renewal, or the promise of returning light after winter's long darkness. Legends passed down through Irish folklore add another layer of intrigue. Local myths tell that Newgrange was built by an ancient race known as the Tuatha De Danann, a mystical tribe said to possess extraordinary powers. According to tradition, the Tuatha De Danann were skilled in magic, craftsmanship, and astronomy, creating monumental structures effortlessly. While mythical, such legends reflect genuine awe and respect for the site's impressive sophistication, highlighting its enduring mystery. Unlike other ancient structures whose purpose may be debated, most archaeologists agree that Newgrange served primarily as a tomb or ceremonial space, connecting the living with their ancestors during significant cosmic events. Even today, thousands of visitors apply each year for the rare chance to witness the winter solstice illumination, eager to experience the moment just as Newgrange's ancient builders intended. Both Dolmen de Soto in Spain and Newgrange in Ireland highlight an incredible level of sophistication and careful planning by ancient societies. Separated by geography and culture, their builders nonetheless shared common practices, precise astronomical alignments, intricate carvings, and monumental stone construction. While we may never fully understand all the motivations behind these structures, their existence speaks volumes about the ingenuity and creativity of the people who constructed them. These two remarkable sites, standing proudly in their landscapes, continue to inspire awe and curiosity today. Whether illuminated by the equinox sunrise in Spain or the winter solstice in Ireland, each structure reminds us of humanity's deep, timeless fascination with celestial events and our persistent drive to create lasting monuments that bridge the generations. From the softly rolling hills of Ireland's Newgrange tomb, we journey southeast now, across Europe and into the rugged landscapes of Lebanon, to a site that has fascinated visitors for thousands of years. Baalbek. Nestled in the fertile Bekaa Valley, Baalbek holds some of the most astonishing megalithic stones ever carved and placed by human hands. Yet despite centuries of study, exactly how ancient people managed this feat remains stubbornly unclear. When approaching the Baalbek complex, one immediately feels dwarfed by its colossal scale. The site consists primarily of Roman temples, built roughly 2,000 years ago, including the Temple of Jupiter, Temple of Bacchus, and Temple of Venus, each impressive in its own right. But beneath these Roman structures lies a foundation of massive stone blocks, so enormous and precisely placed they overshadow even Roman engineering feats. This foundation is known today as the Trilithon, three incredibly large limestone blocks, each weighing around 800 tons. To visualize that kind of weight, consider this. Each stone is roughly equivalent to 2 fully loaded jumbo jets. Even more astonishingly, these stones weren't just roughly moved into position. They were carefully cut, shaped, transported, and placed with precision. The edges between these colossal stones fit snugly together, with such exactness that no mortar or adhesive was required. Thousands of years later, it's still impossible to insert even a sheet of paper into the cracks. While the Trilithon stones alone are impressive, Baalbek also hosts another stone known as the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, still lying in a nearby quarry. This stone weighs an incredible 1,000 tons, making it one of the largest single-carved stones ever created by humans. Just imagining how this massive block was intended to be moved, let alone positioned into a structure, can leave modern engineers scratching their heads. Even today, using our most powerful cranes and transportation equipment, maneuvering and placing stones of this magnitude would be immensely challenging. This raises a fascinating puzzle. How exactly did ancient people, equipped only with what we assume were basic tools and simple machinery, managed to accomplish this monumental task. Baalbek stones weren't just roughly dragged across short distances. The quarry supplying these colossal stones lies nearly a kilometer away, meaning builders needed not only to lift them, but transport them across uneven uphill terrain. Historians and archaeologists have proposed various theories over the decades. Some suggest complex systems of rollers, ropes, ramps, and thousands of laborers might have slowly moved the stones into place. Others argue such methods are physically impractical given the stone's sheer size and weight. Modern experiments using ancient tools have struggled to replicate even a fraction of the movement required, often encountering problems with friction, terrain, and manpower. Local Lebanese folklore, however, offers a rather different, and admittedly more colorful explanation. Stories passed down through generations tell vividly of giant beings who once roamed this valley, possessing immense strength and special powers. According to legend, these giants easily lifted enormous stones, placing them into foundations and temple walls effortlessly, as a child might stack building blocks. While legends of giants might sound fantastical today, ancient people genuinely believed these stories to be historical truths. In fact, many cultures worldwide reference giants or large humanoid beings responsible for constructing monumental sites. In Lebanon specifically, local stories describe these enormous beings as semi-divine ancestors or great heroes who shaped their landscape with ease, leaving behind traces of their strength in monumental structures like Baalbek. Beyond local folklore, historical texts offer intriguing insights. Ancient Greek and Roman authors, visiting the region thousands of years ago, recorded their astonishment at Baalbek's colossal stones. Writing around the 1st century AD, Roman historian Pliny the Elder marveled at the temple foundations, attributing their construction to unknown ancient peoples or mythical figures from the distant past. It's worth noting that while Roman architects were masters of engineering, their structures typically featured smaller stones and bricks bound together with mortar and concrete. Baalbek's massive stones clearly predate the Romans. When the Romans arrived, they built atop these pre-existing foundations, apparently recognizing their durability and stability. Yet the Romans themselves left no record clearly explaining who originally constructed the immense megalithic platform beneath their temples. Archaeological consensus currently attributes Baalbek's trilithon stones to an earlier Phoenician or Canaanite civilization, dating back possibly 3,000 or 4,000 years. Yet these ancient societies, according to our historical records, also possessed relatively simple technology and lacked sophisticated engineering equipment. This discrepancy leaves a puzzling gap in our understanding. If neither Romans nor earlier documented civilizations had the technological ability to move these stones, who did? Visiting Baalbek today is still awe-inspiring. Tourists and scholars alike wander among these enormous stones, marveling at their sheer scale and craftsmanship. Archaeologists and engineers continue to investigate, hoping new discoveries or advanced methods might clarify exactly how ancient builders achieved these incredible feats. Meanwhile, the local community remains understandably proud of this remarkable heritage site. Lebanese guides often recount the ancient legends of giants to visitors with a blend of humor and respect, acknowledging the mystery while preserving the storytelling traditions of their ancestors. Adding to the intrigue is the careful precision observed not just in placement, but in the very cutting of these stones. Close inspection reveals surfaces that appear expertly machined rather than roughly hand-carved. Some researchers speculate ancient builders may have possessed methods or techniques now lost or unrecognized. Special chisels, diamond-tipped tools, or unknown leveraging devices. Yet archaeological excavations around Baalbek haven't yet revealed any definitive tools or equipment to explain the stone's flawless shaping. One thing remains undeniable. Whoever built Baalbek's foundational stones had both profound knowledge of stoneworking and extraordinary organizational capabilities. Planning, shaping, moving, and precisely placing each massive block would have required coordinated teams, expert knowledge of physics and engineering principles, and perhaps, if local legends are to be entertained for a moment, even unusual physical strength. The enormous scale, precision engineering, and enduring mystery of Baalbek stones continue to captivate imaginations. They stand as a tangible testament to human, or perhaps superhuman, ambition, skill, and determination. Whether the product of ancient engineering genius or mythical giants, Baalbek's megalithic foundation remains one of the world's most enigmatic monuments, silently challenging visitors to uncover its ancient secrets. Leaving behind the colossal stones of Baalbek, our journey now takes us across the Atlantic, deep into the heart of North America. Here, far from the iconic pyramids of Egypt or the ancient temples of Greece, lie monumental earthworks, just as fascinating, but constructed entirely from soil and clay rather than stone. These remarkable creations of North America's ancient peoples are known simply as the earth mounds, massive structures whose sheer size, intricate designs, and astronomical alignments continue to astonish archaeologists today. One of the most extraordinary earthworks found in North America is Ohio's famous Serpent Mound. Stretching over 400 meters long, this immense effigy mound coils gracefully along a gently sloping hillside, depicting a serpent with open jaws, apparently swallowing an oval shape, often interpreted as the sun, an egg, or perhaps symbolizing renewal or rebirth. Built by carefully shaping soil and clay, Serpent Mound remains one of the largest effigy mounds in the world, impressive in both scale and precision. What makes Serpent Mound especially intriguing isn't just its enormous size or dramatic appearance, but its precise, astronomical alignments. Archaeologists who have studied the mound in detail have observed that its curves align perfectly with significant solar and lunar events. For example, the serpent's head directly points towards the summer solstice sunset, while its coils align accurately with equinoxes and lunar phases. Such exact positioning implies an extraordinary level of astronomical knowledge among its ancient builders, who carefully observed and recorded celestial patterns over extended periods of time. Yet Serpent Mound is far from the only ancient earthwork of its kind. Scattered throughout the American Midwest and Southeast are thousands of earthen structures, geometric mounds, platform mounds, burial mounds, and effigies of animals and mythical beings. Among these, Cahokia Mounds in Illinois stands out. Once a sprawling city inhabited by tens of thousands of people over 1,000 years ago, Cahokia was home to Monk's Mound, the largest earthen structure in North America. Rising nearly 30 meters high and covering over 14 acres, this platform mound dwarfs many modern structures. Cahokia's ancient architects and astronomers carefully aligned the entire city to astronomical events, creating a cityscape deeply connected to celestial rhythms. Nearby, Newark Earthworks in Ohio further showcases ancient North American expertise in astronomical alignment. Built thousands of years ago by the Hopewell culture, Newark Earthworks originally covered about 4 square miles. making it the largest geometric earthwork complex ever constructed. Within it, perfectly shaped circles and octagons align precisely with lunar cycles, tracking the moon's movements over an astonishing 18.6-year cycle. To achieve such accuracy required generations of careful observation and meticulous planning. The question naturally arises, how did these ancient North American societies develop such sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and engineering, enabling them to construct earthworks on this scale with remarkable precision? Indigenous traditions across the region provide fascinating insights. Many Native American communities share rich oral histories describing ancient, highly advanced ancestors who possess detailed knowledge of astronomy, engineering, and spirituality. These traditions speak respectfully of old ones or previous peoples who handed down sacred wisdom and techniques, including how to build immense ceremonial structures aligned with the stars, sun, and moon. The Cherokee, Shawnee, and many other native tribes tell stories of ancestors who created earthworks to honor celestial events or as powerful spiritual symbols, often teaching their descendants how to align their own lives with nature's cycles. Such teachings emphasize a deep connection between land, sky, and spiritual practice, preserved through generations in ceremonial rituals and storytelling. One intriguing aspect of these indigenous accounts is their consistent portrayal of earlier peoples who seemingly vanished or moved on, leaving behind only their monumental earthworks as silent reminders of their existence. Such stories suggest a continuity of inherited knowledge, carefully preserved and passed down through oral tradition, despite the loss or dispersal of the original builders themselves. Interestingly, archaeological excavations rarely find detailed written records among these ancient mound builders, relying instead on careful study of artifacts, alignments, and construction techniques to reconstruct their societies. Despite their sophisticated engineering and astronomical observations, these ancient cultures communicated their knowledge orally, entrusting it entirely to memory, ritual, and storytelling. Today, these earthworks continue to hold deep spiritual and cultural significance for Native American tribes who maintain strong connections to these ancient sites. Indigenous communities often play central roles in protecting, interpreting, and preserving earth mounds, recognizing them as sacred spaces connecting past, present, and future generations. Visitors to Serpent Mound, Cahokia, or Newark earthworks today often find themselves standing in quiet awe, imagining the ancient communities who once gathered at these remarkable sites to observe solstices, equinoxes, and lunar events, while archaeologists and astronomers marvel at the sophisticated alignments and calculations necessary for their creation. These earthworks remain reminders of a profound human desire to connect with celestial patterns celebrated and preserved through monumental earthen architecture. As we move forward, the North American earth mounds and serpent mounds stand as timeless examples of ancient ingenuity, observation, and cultural depth, monuments made not of stone, but from the very earth itself. Still enduring, still intriguing, and still holding many secrets just below their grassy surfaces. From the lush green earthworks of North America, we now journey back southward, deep into the rugged altitudes of Peru's highlands. Here, overlooking the cold blue waters of Lake Amayo near Puno, stands one of South America's most puzzling archaeological sites, Silistani. Famous for its striking stone towers known locally as chulpas, this mysterious complex quietly commands attention. Towering above the windswept landscape, chulpas are impressive cylindrical towers built from massive, finely cut stones. Some stand nearly 12 meters tall, carefully shaped and assembled into precise circular structures. As you approach, it quickly becomes clear these aren't ordinary ruins. The craftsmanship is astonishing. The stones, perfectly smooth and expertly shaped, fit together tightly without mortar, much like other enigmatic ancient sites such as Sacsayhuaman or Ollantaytambo. In fact, the precision at Silistani rivals that of some of the most sophisticated ancient masonry found anywhere in the world. Yet these remarkable towers weren't just monuments or ceremonial landmarks. Archaeologists believe they originally served as burial towers for important community leaders or priests. Inside, many chulpas contained mummies, carefully wrapped and placed in fetal positions, surrounded by offerings like pottery, food, and precious items for their journey into the afterlife. But the intriguing question remains, why were these burial towers constructed with such extraordinary precision and care? One particularly remarkable aspect of the Silistani chulpas is their unusual architectural technique. Unlike other structures built from simple stacked stone, the chulpas incorporate massive, finely carved blocks positioned at slight inward angles. This deliberate inward tapering gave these towers incredible stability, helping them withstand centuries of earthquakes and harsh weather, testimony to their builders' sophisticated understanding of engineering. Local indigenous traditions add an intriguing layer to Silistani's story. According to ancient legends passed down through generations in the region, these impressive stone towers weren't constructed solely by ordinary humans. Instead, the tales speak vividly of ancient giants known as Gentiles, a powerful advanced civilization that once inhabited the highlands. These beings, described as taller, stronger, and more knowledgeable than the ordinary people of the time, supposedly built these towers easily and quickly, raising heavy stones into place effortlessly. Stories of giants often evoke disbelief today, yet it's fascinating how widespread these accounts appear in local oral traditions. The idea of an earlier, more advanced people who disappeared suddenly, leaving their creations behind, echoes strongly across Andean cultures. Many indigenous groups in Peru, including the Quechua and Aymara peoples, share similar stories of ancestors with extraordinary capabilities whose civilizations abruptly vanished after catastrophic events, commonly described as massive floods or other natural disasters. Interestingly, archaeological research around Lake Amayo provides supporting clues that dramatic flooding indeed affected the area in the distant past. Geological evidence shows significant water level fluctuations thousands of years ago, indicating periods when ancient lockshores might have risen suddenly, submerging entire settlements. Could such an event have wiped out or displaced these advanced builders, leaving behind only their enigmatic stone towers as testimony to their existence? Beyond flood myths and local legends, the Kalpas themselves continue to captivate archaeologists and historians. Studies of their internal structure reveal sophisticated techniques of ventilation and drainage, maintaining conditions inside the towers ideal for preserving human remains, a clear indication of deliberate, thoughtful construction methods. The ability of these structures to remain standing, largely intact, through countless earthquakes and centuries of harsh high-altitude conditions, further emphasizes the extraordinary skills of their builders. Today, visitors to Silistani wander through these towering stone structures, absorbing their mysterious aura and reflecting on the vanished civilization that created them. Set against the stark beauty of Lake Amayo's shores, the Kalpas stand as lasting monuments to a people whose stories survive only through whispers of legend and their remarkably resilient stone architecture. As modern archaeology continues to explore Silistani's secrets, new discoveries may someday shed more definitive light on the builders and their fate. Until then, these striking cylindrical towers silently invite curiosity, standing watch over the ancient landscape, reminding us how much of our past still waits patiently to be uncovered. We now venture far across the Pacific, landing in the lush and ancient landscapes of eastern China. Hidden beneath the calm countryside of Zhejiang province, near the village of Longyu, lie a series of astonishing underground chambers that remained undiscovered until very recently. These incredible subterranean halls, now known as the Longyu Caves, represent one of China's greatest archaeological puzzles, both because of their immense scale and because no historical records mention their creation. The Longyu Caves were accidentally uncovered in 1992 by local villagers, who drained what they believed to be natural ponds. Imagine their shock when they found not ponds, but enormous, intricately carved chambers hidden just beneath their feet. Since that initial discovery, at least 24 caves have been found, each one meticulously excavated into solid siltstone. But even now, the exact number of these underground chambers remains uncertain, as researchers suspect there may be even more waiting to be discovered. Stepping into the caves for the first time is awe-inspiring. Each chamber is vast, some as large as a cathedral, and features massive ceilings supported by immense stone pillars, all carved directly out of solid rock. The sheer effort required to hollow out even one of these rooms is staggering, but to create dozens suggests a huge coordinated project involving hundreds or perhaps thousands of skilled workers over many years. The cave's walls and ceilings display precise and deliberate patterns marked by uniform parallel grooves, evenly spaced and carefully crafted. Such detailed tool marks suggest a level of skill and organization rarely seen in ancient underground excavations. Yet remarkably, no archaeological discoveries have clarified how or why the caves were built. No tools, pottery, artifacts, or even human remains have been uncovered that could provide clear clues about their creators. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Longyu Caves is their acoustic quality. Visitors often notice how sound resonates clearly within these chambers, creating perfect echoes that travel smoothly throughout the vast spaces. This acoustic precision suggests that sound might have played an intentional role in the cave's original purpose. Could these caves have served ceremonial or ritual functions where chanting, music, or speech echoed intentionally through their halls? Adding another layer of intrigue are the artistic carvings found throughout the caves. Detailed reliefs, symbols, and abstract motifs adorn various walls, columns, and ceilings. These artistic carvings don't resemble typical Chinese motifs known from other archaeological sites. Instead, they exhibit unique geometric and abstract patterns combining spirals, waves, and angular shapes, possibly symbolizing concepts or stories unknown to modern scholars. The careful precision of these carvings implies they were important, not merely decorative, suggesting deeper symbolic meaning, possibly tied to spiritual beliefs or cultural values. The complete absence of historical records relating to the Longyu Caves complicates efforts to understand their origin. Ancient Chinese historians were meticulous record keepers, carefully documenting major construction projects and significant cultural achievements. Yet surprisingly, no known Chinese documents, inscriptions, or texts mention these remarkable caves or their builders. This absence of records has sparked significant curiosity among archaeologists, historians, and visitors alike, leaving researchers to speculate why such an impressive achievement remained completely undocumented. The scale and sophistication of the Longyu caves lead some researchers to suggest they might date back to a far earlier period than previously assumed. Geological estimates propose the caves could be around 2,000 years old, potentially placing their creation during China's Qin or Han dynasties, periods marked by significant technological achievements. However, even these eras left extensive historical records, which again raises the question, if created during these well-documented times, why were they completely omitted from history? Local folklore offers intriguing hints, though few concrete answers. Traditional stories among villagers speak vaguely of ancient people or legendary ancestors who built great underground sanctuaries or shelters in times of danger. Yet these tales remain fragmentary and unclear, never fully explaining who these builders were or precisely why the caves were necessary. Another curious aspect of the caves is the complete lack of soot residue on the walls and ceilings. Had ancient workers used torches or lanterns to illuminate their work, as would be expected, traces of soot and smoke should remain visible. Yet none have ever been found, deepening the mystery of exactly how these vast, dark chambers were illuminated during construction. Did their builders have access to unknown forms of lighting or specialized methods allowing them to carve in darkness? The Longyu caves today have become popular destinations, captivating visitors from around the world. Those who descend into their vast interiors can't help but marvel at the careful craftsmanship, the remarkable acoustics, and the enigmatic artistic symbols decorating their walls. Yet despite decades of research and exploration, the caves continue to guard their secrets. Archaeologists, geologists, and historians regularly visit the site, employing modern technology such as laser scanning and ground-penetrating radar in hopes of uncovering further clues. For now, the Longyu caves remain one of the great unsolved mysteries of ancient China. Their discovery challenges existing historical narratives, highlighting gaps in our understanding of early civilizations' capabilities. Until definitive evidence emerges, visitors and researchers alike are left only to wonder about the vanished builders who quietly carved these impressive subterranean chambers, leaving behind an architectural marvel that continues to astonish everyone who steps within. From the shadowy depths of China's Longyu caves, we journey far across the vast Pacific Ocean, arriving at a remote speck of volcanic land, Easter Island. Known locally as Rapa Nui, this isolated island, thousands of kilometers from any other inhabited landmass, is home to some of the most iconic and intriguing monuments ever created by human hands, the enigmatic Moai statues. Dotting Easter Island's rugged landscape are nearly 900 giant stone figures, known as Moai, carved from solid volcanic rock. These statues vary considerably in size, but many tower impressively over the landscape, averaging around 4 meters tall and weighing up to 14 tons. The largest Moai ever attempted, known as El Gigante, remains partially carved at the Reino Ruraku quarry. Had it been completed, this giant would have stood around 21 meters tall and weighed over 250 tons. What immediately strikes anyone who sees the Moai is their sophisticated craftsmanship. Each figure was expertly shaped from volcanic tuff, a relatively soft rock that nevertheless required precise carving methods. The Moai's facial features are uniformly distinct, with heavy brows, elongated noses, and carefully shaped lips. Most remarkably, their large eyes were originally inlaid with coral and obsidian to create an intense gaze, though many of these inlays are now missing, lost to time. Yet, carving these statues was only the beginning. Once shaped, these enormous figures had to be transported considerable distances, often several kilometers, from the quarry to ceremonial platforms called ahu along the coastline. How exactly the Rapa Nui people accomplished this extraordinary feat remains a fascinating puzzle. Many moai stand far from the quarry, perched atop their stone platforms with their backs facing the sea. The effort required to move them over rough terrain would have been immense, even by modern standards. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain their transport. Some archaeologists suggest that islanders used wooden sledges and log rollers, pulling the moai across the island using ropes. However, this method would have required large amounts of timber, a resource famously scarce on Easter Island. Another intriguing theory, popularized by local oral tradition, is that the statues walked across the island. Researchers testing this hypothesis demonstrated it might be possible to move statues upright by rocking them back and forth with ropes, mimicking a slow walking motion. Still, despite experimental success, the exact method remains debated among historians and archaeologists. The islanders themselves have passed down oral stories suggesting that the moai were animated by spiritual forces, moving themselves into place through divine power. Though mythical, such accounts underscore how deeply impressive and puzzling the statue's transportation appeared to the islanders themselves. For centuries, their ancestors maintained a strong tradition of ancestor worship, believing these towering stone figures represented important chieftains and ancestors who protected and watched over their descendants. But what makes Easter Island even more fascinating is its story of cultural collapse, a sudden and dramatic downfall whose causes remain hotly debated. Archaeological evidence shows that at one point, Easter Island supported a thriving society, numbering as many as 10,000 to 15,000 people. These islanders skillfully farmed the land, harvested seafood, and maintained extensive networks of cooperation necessary to build and move moai statues. However, sometime in the island's history, likely around the 17th or 18th century, things changed drastically. Archaeological layers from this period reveal evidence of conflict, declining resources, and the abrupt halting of moai construction. Large numbers of unfinished statues remain abandoned in quarries, as though their creators suddenly disappeared or simply gave up. The island's population sharply declined, and a previously organized, prosperous society fractured into smaller, struggling groups. Many researchers attribute this sudden collapse to environmental stress, overuse of resources, particularly the island's limited trees, which were essential for both transportation and agriculture. As deforestation intensified, soil erosion and diminished agricultural yields likely worsened. Islanders would have found it increasingly difficult to sustain their lifestyle and massive construction projects. Yet some scholars speculate that environmental issues alone may not fully explain the scale and speed of the collapse. More recently, geological studies have revealed another intriguing possibility. Researchers studying sediment layers discovered evidence suggesting Easter Island experienced periods of extreme climatic stress, droughts, storms, or even potentially tsunamis triggered by distant seismic activity. Such natural disasters, striking suddenly and severely, could have disrupted island society dramatically, hastening its decline. Intriguingly, local legends describe past catastrophic events, including great waves that destroyed coastal villages, reinforcing the possibility that Easter Island's culture might have suffered from one or multiple rapid disasters. These tales remain embedded in Rapa Nui oral history, resonating through generations as vivid reminders of their ancestors' vulnerability to powerful natural forces. Today, visitors who wander among the silent rows of Maui can't help but sense a profound connection to an ancient culture that once thrived on this remote island. Many statues still gaze inland solemnly, perhaps guarding secrets of how they were carved and moved, and what ultimately led to their creator's disappearance. Leaving the windswept shores of Easter Island behind, we now travel across the globe once again, this time arriving in southeastern Turkey, land steeped in history and mystery. Here, on a quiet hilltop overlooking vast, fertile plains, lies Göbekli Tepe, one of archaeology's most astonishing discoveries, and a site that has dramatically reshaped how we understand the dawn of civilization. Göbekli Tepe, meaning Potbelly Hill in Turkish, appears deceptively simple from afar, a gently rising mound surrounded by farmland. Yet beneath its unassuming exterior lies an extraordinary ancient complex built nearly 12,000 years ago. To put that in perspective, Göbekli Tepe predates Stonehenge by roughly 7,000 years and Egypt's Great Pyramid by over 6,000. When first uncovered by archaeologists, it seemed almost too remarkable to be true. Excavations have revealed several large circular enclosures constructed from immense limestone pillars. Many of these pillars are shaped like giant T-shaped columns, some reaching nearly 6 meters in height and weighing up to 20 tons each. What's immediately striking is not just their size, but the remarkable detail carved onto these stones. Intricate carvings of animals such as foxes, vultures, snakes, and lions adorn these pillars, executed with artistic precision far beyond what archaeologists previously believed possible during such an ancient era. One fascinating pillar at Göbekli Tepe even depicts a stylized figure carrying a small handbag-like object, an enigmatic symbol that intriguingly appears in carvings worldwide, from ancient sites in Mesopotamia to the stone carvings found among the ruins of civilizations in Central America. The recurring image of this handbag motif across distant ancient cultures has captivated researchers and sparked debates about potential global cultural connections. Were these symbols purely coincidental, or could ancient people across different continents have shared ideas or symbolism, perhaps through long-forgotten networks of communication? The mystery deepens when examining the construction methods at Göbekli Tepe. Its builders not only carved and transported massive stone pillars, but placed them upright within carefully engineered structures. Creating these enclosures required complex planning and significant collective labor, suggesting levels of organization and cooperation previously thought impossible for hunter-gatherer societies from that period. What's more, archaeologists have found no evidence that Göbekli Tepe served as a dwelling or domestic site. There are no signs of long-term habitation, cooking fires, or typical everyday tools. Instead, researchers believe it was a ceremonial center, possibly the world's oldest known temple, a gathering place where people from various areas assembled periodically, perhaps to participate in rituals, celebrations, or communal gatherings tied to the cycles of nature. Intriguingly, after centuries of use, Göbekli Tepe was deliberately buried under layers of earth and rubble around 800 BC, an intentional act that preserved it remarkably well. Why ancient people chose to carefully bury the site remains uncertain. Some scholars speculate it was part of a deliberate effort to protect the site, or perhaps mark the end of a significant cultural era. Göbekli Tepe isn't an isolated phenomenon. Recent discoveries in the same region of Turkey have uncovered other equally fascinating sites, such as Karahan Tepe and Nivli Kori, each echoing Göbekli Tepe's architectural style and symbolic carvings. Karahan Tepe, located approximately 35 kilometers east, features similarly impressive T-shaped pillars and circular enclosures, strongly suggesting that these sites were part of a broader cultural movement or network spreading across the region. Nivli Kori, discovered slightly earlier but now submerged due to a dam project, also revealed intricate carvings and large pillars closely matching Göbekli Tepe's style. These related sites provide compelling evidence that the people of this region shared common religious or cultural practices, spreading knowledge, ideas, and symbols across considerable distances. Further reinforcing this notion of ancient connectivity is the consistent recurrence of certain symbolic imagery across many distant sites worldwide. For instance, the serpent, prominently featured at Göbekli Tepe, appears repeatedly in ancient symbolism globally, from North America's Serpent Mound to temples across Southeast Asia. Birds, particularly vultures and eagles, carved with similar stylistic elements, frequently appear at Göbekli Tepe, just as they do in Mesoamerican and Near Eastern artwork, suggesting common symbolic associations with the sky or spiritual realms. These recurring symbols point to the intriguing possibility of a shared ancient symbolism, a cultural vocabulary spanning continents. While direct contact between ancient cultures separated by vast oceans and land masses seems unlikely to traditional historians, the striking similarities in iconography remain puzzling. Some researchers speculate that shared symbolism could result from common experiences, such as observing celestial events or natural phenomena, leading disparate cultures to independently develop similar imagery. Yet Tepe's precise astronomical alignments add further complexity. Researchers have discovered that certain structures at Tepe align closely with particular star constellations, suggesting advanced astronomical observations by its builders. Such knowledge implies not just casual sky watching, but careful tracking and recording of celestial movements over long periods, reinforcing the idea that these ancient peoples possessed sophisticated understanding of the natural world around them. Today, visitors exploring Göbekli Tepe walk among these ancient pillars, marveling at their scale, craftsmanship, and mysterious symbolism. Ongoing excavations continually reveal new structures and carvings, steadily increasing our understanding of this fascinating site. Yet many essential questions remain unanswered. Who exactly built Göbekli Tepe and its sister sites like Karahan Tepe and Nivali Kori? What rituals or ceremonies took place within these stone enclosures? And why were they ultimately abandoned and buried so carefully? Local traditions in this region of Turkey offer some tantalizing hints. Speaking of ancient ancestors who possessed extraordinary wisdom and skills, people who taught their descendants astronomy, agriculture, and spiritual practices, then mysteriously vanished, leaving only enigmatic monuments behind. Such stories, though mythical in nature, echo similar legends from other cultures around the world, all referencing a lost golden age when advanced knowledge and skills were commonplace. After exploring the ancient enigmas at Göbekli Tepe and its sister sites, it becomes increasingly clear that our planet holds countless stories from forgotten civilizations. As we've journeyed across the globe, encountering massive stone circles, precise astronomical alignments, sophisticated carvings, and extraordinary structures, a question naturally arises. Could these monuments be evidence of advanced societies lost to history, possibly disrupted or destroyed by catastrophic flooding events thousands of years ago? To better understand this intriguing idea, let's briefly consider the geological and climatic changes that swept across the Earth between roughly 10,000 and 5,000 BC. During this period, our planet underwent dramatic transformations, transitioning out of the last ice age. As enormous ice sheets melted and retreated, sea levels rose rapidly, sometimes flooding vast coastal regions virtually overnight. Scientific research shows that global sea levels increased by more than 120 meters, enough to reshape continents, submerge entire landmasses, and permanently alter human civilization. This rapid and significant rise in sea level wasn't gradual or subtle. Instead, researchers now understand it occurred in a series of dramatic events, sometimes causing large-scale flooding within only a few generations. Coastal areas that were once vibrant populated regions, rich in resources, ideal for agriculture and settlement, vanished beneath rising seas, forcing entire populations inland. Could these sudden floods explain why so many ancient cultures worldwide describe catastrophic water events in their myths and legends? Intriguingly, submerged archaeological discoveries have provided direct evidence supporting these ideas. Beneath the waters off Japan's Yonaguni Island, divers discovered structures resembling artificial formations, suggesting an ancient sunken settlement or ceremonial site. Similarly, ruins found underwater near India's coast, such as those at Dvarka, indicate sophisticated architecture existing long before recorded history. These underwater structures support the theory that rising sea levels flooded large, inhabited regions possibly home to advanced civilizations whose histories now lie beneath the waves. The concept of an ancient civilization spanning across continents and oceans might sound radical, but it's worth considering the numerous architectural and symbolic similarities observed among distant ancient sites. The consistent presence of complex astronomical alignments, advanced construction techniques, and repeated symbolic motifs like spirals, animal representations, and the mysterious handbag carvings found everywhere from Göbekli Tepe to ancient Central America suggest shared cultural ideas possibly originating from a single ancient source or widespread cultural exchange. Alternative researchers sometimes speculate about an ancient global civilization, a culture that reached a peak of advancement before being abruptly interrupted or destroyed by catastrophic environmental changes. Such theories, often popularized by authors and researchers outside mainstream academia, argue that remnants of this civilization influenced later societies, leaving behind scattered knowledge, symbolism, and architecture around the world. While mainstream archaeology remains cautious about this global civilization theory, recent discoveries continually challenge conventional thinking. Advances in underwater archaeology, satellite imaging, and geological analysis are steadily revealing previously unknown ancient sites, many submerged beneath modern sea levels or hidden beneath dense vegetation and sediment. Each new discovery adds credibility to the possibility that large-scale global flooding did significantly impact early human societies, reshaping their environments, forcing migration, and altering their historical trajectories forever. Moreover, the widespread myths from diverse cultures further support the idea of a collective memory of catastrophic floods. From Mesopotamia's Epic of Gilgamesh and the biblical account of Noah's flood to indigenous traditions in Australia, China, and North America, nearly every ancient civilization vividly remembered a devastating water event. These traditions describe entire civilizations being swept away, leaving only a few survivors who carried forward fragments of knowledge, technology, and symbolism from their lost cultures. Could these scattered legends actually record historical events? Could ancient storytellers have preserved real memories of environmental upheavals that wiped out entire civilizations, reshaped humanity's course, and left only stone monuments behind? While conclusive evidence remains elusive, the pattern of global myths aligns intriguingly with scientific evidence of dramatic flooding events at the end of the Ice Age. Ultimately, what we do know for certain is that ancient civilizations possessed extraordinary skills, remarkable knowledge of astronomy, engineering, and artistry. Sites like Göbekli Tepe, the Moai statues of Easter Island, the megalithic walls of Sacsayhuaman, and the submerged ruins off coastlines worldwide reveal an undeniable human capacity for creativity, innovation, and resilience in the face of environmental challenges. Perhaps the greatest value in exploring theories of lost civilizations and global flooding isn't to definitively prove or disprove these ideas, but rather to remain open to new discoveries, to question assumptions, and to embrace the mysteries still hidden within our shared history. Our past is far more complex, interconnected, and fascinating than we've traditionally imagined. The stories we've uncovered during this journey across continents and cultures invite ongoing curiosity and exploration, reminding us how much still remains undiscovered beneath our oceans, sands, forests, and time itself. Thanks for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Which site fascinated you the most? Do you think global flooding truly reshaped ancient civilizations? Or do you believe another explanation fits better? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more journeys into history's greatest mysteries. Until next time, as always, stay curious.